The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
Welcome to the David Pakman Show. Producer Louis is gone today. He's on some kind of fishing expedition, even though the weather's been horrible, so it's hard to imagine it really happened. But hey, when you ask for the time off, you get the time off here. That's the way it works in a progressive-run organization. But here filling in for Louis is Bill Scher from Campaign for America's Future and liberaloasis.com. You've had a bit of a hiatus from the show as a result of having 2 children. And at one point, you were actually on the list with Shirley Phelps Roper from the Westboro Baptist Church as the 2 most guests with the most appearances on the David Pakman Show.
I had no idea I had such an honor.
Yeah.
But now, I'm like, what, 6th or 7th now? I've fallen back on the rankings?
No, well, you know, we now are spreading out the appearances now that we have, now that we're on 4 days a week instead of 2. So I think you may still actually hold. I think this may be your 11th appearance or something like that. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the records.
I'm like John McCain, and you're Meet the Press.
Exactly, same type of thing. And, you know, it's fitting that Bill Scher is here because on today's bonus show, we've got a couple of parenting-related stories. And now I think you're kind of our new parenting authority. But also, Louis is famous for making a comment on the show during a discussion about children, saying, if I accidentally had a kid, I'd probably love the kid. So, as someone who a few years ago was not a father, but now is the father of two young girls, what would your reaction be to a comment like that?
You know, it is hard to understand how you would love a baby that doesn't speak to you, can't communicate with you, even when they have a few words.
Right.
It's hard to talk about that sounding really cheesy and sappy, but there is something that happens. There's a bonding thing that happens, like right out of the chute, where all of a sudden, you just have this child-centered world, and everything else becomes secondary to that.
So in a sense, Louis is right that he probably would love the kid.
I guess if I put money on it, then yes. I guess I'm assuming that Louis is not a completely cold-hearted, ogre.
Yeah. Do we know that, Natan? Is Louis cold-hearted?
Well, it's unclear, but I don't know that Bill's the best person to talk about this because he didn't accidentally have his kids.
Right. Yeah. Well, that we know of. We won't get into that. But no. But I think it's good to get other perspectives about how likely it is one would love their children from people who are sitting in Louis's chair, because his view may be a little limited right now. What can you say? Okay. So by the way, are we now? I know for a time you were very carefully managing whether you were representing liberaloasis.com or Campaign for America's Future
we should always be safe. Let's just upfront disclaimer. I speak for myself. I don't want to say something that will get put in the mouths of my organization. So let's just say just to be cautious.
Bill Scher is here.
For myself only here.
Speaking for himself only.
But people should go to ourfuture.org, the home of Campaign for America's Future, and see all the wonderful commentary that is there. That may or may not be in sync with what I say today.
Yeah, and again, no connection between those two things. You are here representing only. Can we say liberaloasis.com?
Yes, I have full domain over that, and the Liberal Oasis Radio Show podcast, which is once a week with my co-host Tracy Olson. That's usually uploaded on Saturday or Sunday.
To liberaloasis.com.
Liberaloasis.com. You can subscribe via iTunes there.
Before we get into politics, I want to mention I did a great interview last week for Sky versus Sky on And Magazine. I have to admit, I'm not sure if it's A-N-D Magazine or And Magazine. It's all capitalized, but with acronyms these days, one never can tell. But the interview is for Sky versus Sky. It's about 25 minutes. We talk about all sorts of stuff, so please do check it out. It's at davidpakman.com. Click on Press and News, and you'll see the full interview.